What's up? Patch 11.0 Reclamation just arrived, and if you're into chaotic shipboard melees and teeth and claw theatrics, this one's built to test whether your stomps are louder than a Tyranid roar. I want to walk you through what matters, what will make you smile, and what will make you rethink that I'll tank everything mindset. But I'll do it like we're on a mission briefing rather than a dry readout. So imagine me leaning in, lowering my voice a little where it counts, and hyping up the bits that actually change how you play. First off, the new operation puts you on a crippled Imperial cruiser orbiting Avarax, where the objectives are mean and the corridors are meaner. It's an off-planet mission that leans hard into claustrophobic ship interiors, shifting objectives, and a boss encounter that forces you to manage more than one heavyweight threat at the same time. The headline enemy is the Tyranid Prime, actually primes in the plural during portions of the fight, and the encounter is designed so that you can't just tunnel vision one target forever. The space, the movement, and the priority targeting all matter in ways older fights didn't always require. This means positioning, stagger management, and coordinated burst windows with melee and ranged will be your best friends, while reckless charging without backup will get you chewed and spat out. Mechanically, the update planted a very clear flag with a new PvE pickup called Sanctified Wrath, and this thing changes the rhythm of engagements. When used, it boosts melee damage by 25% for 15 seconds, grants knockback immunity, and knocks nearby enemies away on activation. That sounds simple, but it actually rewrites the conversation between melee classes and bosses. There are now intentional windows where the melee specialist can dive in and be the hammer instead of the nail, because the pickup both empowers damage and removes the usual mobility punishment of being staggered during a heavy commit. Pair that with the new ship layout where getting trapped in a doorway is a real threat, and you can see how Sanctified Wrath will be the unlock for aggressive plays that previously felt suicidal. It also means timing. Popping it during a boss vulnerability or to interrupt a heavy telegraph will be what separates clutch plays from corpse piles. There's also a big systemic push in this patch toward variability and unpredictability through battlefield rules. Over 40 new battlefield conditions have been added to the stratagems pool, which is not a small number. It substantially widens the combinations that can appear in daily or weekly missions, reducing the repetition that made some modifier sets feel stale or downright broken. More conditions gives the devs muscle to retire ones that create impossible or nonsensical runs, but it also forces squads to be flexible. One run might make explosives unreliable, another might change gravity or redistribute damage across players. In short, you'll be swapping out rigid one-trick loadouts more often in favor of adaptable kits that can handle crowd surges, altered physics, or focused heavy hitter mechanics. On the gear front, the update adds 6 heroic weapon variants and a healthy batch of armor pieces to chase through accolades, including names you want to hear like Heavy Bolter and Bolt Sniper Rifle among the weapons, and a mix of helms and pauldrons for cosmetics and that I earned this flex. The heroics come with effects and stat lines tuned for PvE reward loops, and while cosmetics are always nice, the new toys actually alter how classes approach their roles. Ranged specialists get more options to handle both adds and single target pills of damage, while melee gets that sweet window from Sanctified Wrath to convert boosted swing damage into boss phase control. There's a particular bit of joy in watching a coordinated team time a melee pickup with suppressive fire and movement denial, and the heroic pieces plug into that workflow. Balance and quality of life notes are scattered through the official communications and community test notes. The devs used a public test server for these changes, which is important because it means some numbers you'll see in early reports were tested and iterated on before landing, but expect tuning after launch as well. The first wave of feedback always pops up on weapon curves, boss telegraphs, and modifier interactions. The communication also directly addresses issues the community flagged with earlier stratagems rollout, notably some battlefield condition combinations that made progress impossible. The larger pool and focused hotfix mindset are explicitly called out as part of the response, so the intent is to stabilize stratagem-driven content rather than let it break runs. That context matters because if you're a long-timer, you'll notice the devs are trying to make hard content hard in consistent and solvable ways, rather than leaving it in randomly impossible territory. Cosmetics and season content get a nod too. The update ships with 2 new cosmetic packs, including a Blood Angels champion set inspired by the Captain miniature, complete with an optional jump pack variant for assault players who want that sanguinary guard vibe. It's a nice touch for players who care about visual identity while stopping Tyranids, and it ties into the wider year pass season model the team is running, so expect the palette of unlockable looks to keep expanding. The release timing was slated for the end of November, and while exact timing across platforms is always subject to small adjustments, the messaging has been clear about an end-of-month launch window, which you can use to plan your play sessions if you're trying to be the one to farm the new heroics on day 1. All in all, the update nudges the game toward more deliberate coordination, punishes lone wolf mania in confined spaces, and rewards teams that can manipulate windows of advantage, sanctified or otherwise. If you like meat and metal melee with a side of strategic timing, the new pickup and the ship's design set up some fantastic moments. If you prefer methodical ranged play to heroic weapons and the need to manage battlefield modifiers, mean your role still matters, maybe even more than before. The patch broadens the toolbox and tightens the encounters, and whether that feels thrilling or frustrating will depend on how much you enjoy learning a new rhythm and syncing it with your squad.